The power of dua in a woman's journey. What if I told you that the secret to transforming your life isn't in a course, a job, or even a relationship? What if I told you that the most powerful force in the universe has been in your hands all along? A pause. Let it sink in. Ladies, I'm talking about dua, the supplication that connects your heart directly to the divine. A simple whisper, a silent plea, a heartfelt cry that carries more power than anything else you will ever do. Think about it. How many times have you faced a moment that felt impossible? A dream that seemed unreachable? A problem that no one could solve? And yet, in those quiet moments, some of you reached for your heart and whispered, "Ya Allah, help me." And do you know what happens next? The universe shifts, not always instantly, not always visibly, but it begins to move in your favor. And that, my friends, is the hidden magic of dua. Let me tell you a story. There was a young woman, ambitious, brilliant, full of dreams. She applied to countless jobs, faced rejection after rejection, and felt the walls closing in. One night in her small quiet room, she simply prayed, "Ya Allah, guide me. Open a door I cannot see." The next day, an opportunity appeared. Not the one she expected, but one far greater. That one whispered dua unlocked a door that years of planning, worrying, and stressing could not. That's the power we often overlook. And here's something even more fascinating. Dua isn't just about asking. It's about believing. It's about knowing that the unseen is listening. That your heart, even when broken, is a doorway to miracles. Women, our hearts carry extraordinary strength. Our tears, our hopes, our relentless prayers, they are not signs of weakness. They are the fuel that powers the extraordinary. Imagine dua like planting seeds. Each whisper, each plea, each sincere cry is a seed. You water it with patience, nurture it with faith. And Allah's response is the sunlight that makes it grow, often in ways you never imagined. Ask yourself, are you praying with conviction? Or are you simply going through the motions? There's a difference. Dua with the heart in it shakes the heavens. It moves mountains. It transforms destinies. I know a mother who stayed up night after night, praying for her child's safety and future. People said it was hopeless, that the challenges were too great. But she didn't stop. She prayed, believing. And years later, her child emerged stronger, wiser, and more successful than anyone could have predicted. Her secret? Not a plan, not a strategy, just dua. And here's the truth, my sisters. Dua is not just about asking. It's about claiming your power. It's about standing firm in the storm and whispering to the divine, "I trust you. I believe. I will not give up." So today, I urge you, whatever stage of life you are in, whatever struggle you face, make dua your companion. Let it be your first step in the morning and your last whisper at night. Let it be the secret key to doors you thought were forever closed. Because here's the ultimate secret: the woman who prays with purpose, faith, and persistence is unstoppable. She is a force of nature. She is a beacon. She is a miracle in motion. And now take a deep breath and promise yourself this: I will never underestimate the power of my own prayer. I will never forget that my heart, my tears, my words have the power to change my life forever. Remember this: every whisper, every tear, every dua you make is a VIP invitation to miracles. And today, you are part of that exclusive circle. Not everyone knows it, but you do. You now hold the power. So go ahead, pray like your life depends on it, because it does. Dua is a powerful, personal connection to the divine that can transform challenges into opportunities. True dua requires belief, patience, and heartfelt sincerity, not just mechanical repetition. Women's hearts hold extraordinary strength. Their prayers are a unique source of power and change. Each prayer is like planting a seed. Nurture it with faith, and the divine response will manifest in unseen ways. Persistent, purposeful dua is a tool to claim personal power and overcome life's obstacles. Every sincere prayer carries the potential to unlock miracles and reshape your destiny. Have you ever stopped in the middle of a storm, heart pounding, hands trembling, and felt utterly powerless? That moment when every plan seems to crumble and every door feels closed. That's where the magic of dua begins. Imagine a young woman standing at the crossroads of her life. She's brilliant, ambitious, and full of dreams, yet every step she takes seems blocked. The job she wanted slips through her fingers, her confidence wavers, and the weight of expectations presses down on her shoulders. She tries to solve everything with strategies, with effort, with sheer willpower. But the more she struggles, the heavier life feels. One quiet night, alone in her room, she closes her eyes and whispers, "Ya Allah, guide me. Show me a way I cannot see." At first it feels like nothing happens. Silence. The room remains the same. But the act itself, the reaching, the yearning, the turning of her heart toward the divine, creates a subtle shift, almost imperceptible. Dua is more than just asking. It's a form of communication that opens channels invisible to the eye. Think of it like sending a message in a bottle into a vast ocean. You throw it with hope, with trust, and somehow, somewhere, it reaches shores you never even imagined. I know a woman who had been praying for years to find her calling. She felt lost, drifting from one job to another, each one unfulfilling. She remembers telling herself in frustration, "Why isn't anything working? Am I doing something wrong?" But she didn't stop praying. Every night, she whispered her hopes and fears into the darkness, each word carrying the weight of her heart. Then, one morning, an opportunity appeared. Not the one she had expected, not the one she had been chasing blindly, but one that aligned perfectly with her talents, her passion, and her purpose. She would later say that it felt as if the universe had been waiting for her prayers to reach a point where it could respond fully. That is the unseen power of dua. It works quietly, patiently reshaping your reality in ways that logic and planning cannot. Think about moments in your own life. Have you ever prayed in desperation, only to see doors open where you had none? Maybe it was a solution to a family crisis, a breakthrough in your education, or the courage to make a life-changing decision. There is a story of a young mother whose child was facing serious health challenges. Every night, she stayed awake, whispering prayers that her child would recover. People told her to accept fate, to let go of hope. But she continued, tears streaming down her face, every plea filled with unshakable faith. Months later, her child's health improved in ways no doctor could have predicted. She often says now, "I don't know why, but I knew that as long as I prayed, something greater than me was working behind the scenes." That is the essence of dua. It is an unseen force, more potent than any plan, more faithful than any human promise. Dua also transforms the one who prays. It instills patience where impatience once ruled. It plants seeds of hope in the soil of despair. When we turn to dua, we are not just asking for help. We are reminding ourselves that we are never truly alone. Each whisper, each tear, each silent plea is a declaration that we trust in something higher, something wiser, something infinitely loving. Consider a woman facing failure in her career. She has exhausted every resource, every connection, every strategy, and yet nothing works. In desperation, she folds her hands and prays. In that act, she experiences a profound shift. The anxiety that once consumed her softens. Clarity appears in small moments, a conversation, an insight, a sudden opportunity that she could not have orchestrated herself. That is the hidden beauty of dua. It doesn't just change circumstances, it transforms hearts, preparing them to recognize the blessings that are already on the way. Even the Prophet Muhammad reminded us that dua is a weapon of the believer, a shield in times of difficulty. Women throughout history have turned to dua in moments of hardship, from mothers seeking protection for their children to pioneers asking for strength to pursue education, careers, and dreams that seemed impossible. Every whispered prayer is a connection to a limitless source of guidance, love, and wisdom. It's the force that tells you, even when the world says no, that something greater says yes. And the woman who embraces this power finds that life begins to unfold, not just in ways she hoped for, but in ways she could never have imagined. Have you ever wondered why some prayers seem to change everything, while others feel like they vanish into thin air? The truth is, dua is not just about asking, it's about believing, about planting your heart firmly in the soil of trust and waiting for the unseen to bloom. Imagine a young woman sitting alone in her small room, her hands trembling, her mind swirling with doubt. She has prayed before, but this time it's different. This time she whispers with a conviction she has never felt before. Why Allah? I know you see me. I know you hear me. Please guide me. Please open the way that is best for me. Belief is what transforms a plea into a miracle. It's what turns a whisper in the darkness into a ripple that moves mountains. There is a story of a woman who spent years struggling in her marriage. She tried everything: counseling, advice from friends, endless discussions, but nothing seemed to bring peace. One night, feeling broken and desperate, she prayed like never before, speaking from the depths of her heart, not just with her lips. She said, "Why Allah, I can't do this alone. Please guide us, help us find the right path, help me become the best version of myself in this situation." Months later, the change she had been waiting for appeared, not as a dramatic transformation overnight, but as small shifts in understanding, patience, and love that slowly reshaped her home. Her prayers had worked because she believed. She surrendered fully, trusting in the wisdom that she could not yet see. Belief in dua is like a seed planted in the dark earth. You do not see it grow immediately. You water it with hope, but you cannot watch it sprout every hour. Yet beneath the soil, roots form, invisible to the eye, steady and unstoppable. Think about a young woman striving for education against all odds, her family struggling, her circumstances challenging. Every night, she prays not only for knowledge, but for strength to endure the hardships. Wa Allah, make the way clear for me, give me patience and courage. She continues week after week, month after month, never wavering. Then one day, she receives news of a scholarship she had no right to expect, a mentor who appears exactly when she needs guidance, doors opening in ways that seemed impossible. That is the unseen power of belief. Dua is not magic, it is the soul's alignment with infinite possibilities. There is also a deeper truth. Belief in dua transforms the person who prays. The act of surrendering, of trusting without seeing, reshapes fear into courage, despair into hope. I know a woman who faced the loss of her job during a time when her family depended on her income. She could have panicked, given in to anxiety, but instead she prayed daily, with complete faith that her situation was not final, that something greater awaited. In that process, she discovered resilience she never knew she had. Opportunities came not because they were inevitable, but because her heart was ready to recognize them, ready to act when the unseen moved in her favor. Belief. She later said, turned my prayers from words into a lifeline I clung to when everything else fell away. Even the smallest acts of belief in dua carry immense power. A single tear shed in sincerity, a single whispered hope from the heart, is enough to shift the unseen currents of life. Women throughout history have shown us this. From mothers who prayed for the protection of their children, to pioneers who sought guidance to pursue dreams others told them were impossible, their belief turned whispers into monumental change. It is in the combination of vulnerability and trust, of surrender and persistence, that the magic lies. And here is the secret that changes everything. When you truly believe, the universe conspires in ways you cannot anticipate. Roads that seemed closed open, people arrive who carry the keys you need, and opportunities unfold with perfect timing. Belief in dua is not passive, it is active, it is courageous. It is a choice to trust when doubt knocks at the door, a decision to keep asking when the world says enough. One woman who had struggled to conceive prayed with this conviction every day, saying, "Why Allah, I trust you, I believe in your plan." Years later, she held her child in her arms, a living testament to the power of belief woven into prayer. A reminder that dua is not simply about asking, but about trusting fully, that what you need is already on its way, even if you cannot yet see it. Have you ever felt the weight of life pressing down so heavily that you could barely breathe, yet somehow found a glimmer of hope in a quiet whisper to the divine? That is the essence of dua. It is not just about asking for things. It is about turning your heart outward, beyond fear, beyond doubt, to a force greater than yourself. Imagine a young woman standing at the edge of her dreams, paralyzed by the fear of failure. She has plans, strategies, and determination. Yet something inside her knows that no amount of effort alone can bridge the gap between where she is and where she longs to be. And so, she folds her hands and speaks to the one who sees beyond the visible, saying simply, "Wa Allah, I can't do this alone. Please guide me." In that moment, the invisible begins to stir. Dua has a way of awakening the unseen. I remember a woman I once knew, brilliant and ambitious, yet constantly doubting herself. She had spent years climbing the ladder of her career, only to be blocked at every turn by circumstances beyond her control. She would lie awake at night, asking herself, "Is there even a path for me? Am I wasting my time?" And then one evening, exhausted, she whispered a prayer unlike any she had spoken before. "Why Allah, I know you know what is best for me. Show me the way, even if I cannot see it." The very next day, an unexpected opportunity appeared. A mentorship, a connection, a chance she hadn't even imagined. That moment changed everything. Not because of her planning, but because her heart had reached out with trust, and the divine responded. Dua is also a mirror of the soul. It reflects our deepest desires, our fears, our vulnerabilities. Women, especially, carry within them a unique capacity to hope, to nurture, and to dream. I know a mother who prayed nightly for her child's safety, whispering through tears, "Yea, Allah, protect them, guide them, keep them safe." She prayed not just for a moment, but every day, with a persistence born from love and fear intertwined. Months later, the child faced a challenge that could have been devastating, yet somehow every step aligned perfectly. Doctors, teachers, and friends appeared at exactly the right time. The mother often says now, "I knew my prayers were being heard, even when I couldn't see it. Every whisper mattered." That is the hidden power of dua. It works silently, reshaping the world in alignment with the prayers of a sincere heart. It is fascinating how dua transforms the one who prays. It is not merely a request, it is a practice in patience, resilience, and hope. A young woman preparing for an important exam could have spent her nights in panic, overwhelmed by anxiety. Instead, she chooses to pray, placing her trust in the divine while studying with diligence. She whispers, "Ya Allah, grant me clarity, grant me focus, guide my efforts." The act of praying calms her mind, steadies her heart, and strengthens her resolve. When the results come, they are not just marks on a paper. They are the fruits of a heart aligned with purpose, a mind supported by faith, and a soul nourished by trust. Even the simplest dua can have a ripple effect. A whispered plea in a quiet room, a tear shed in secrecy, a hope sent to the divine with sincerity. These are not small acts. They are like sparks dropped into dry tinder. They can ignite transformation in ways you cannot anticipate. I remember a woman who faced repeated setbacks in her personal life. Every door seemed closed, every plan failed. She continued to pray not for specific outcomes, but for strength, guidance, and patience. Over time, she noticed subtle shifts, conversations that led to new opportunities, connections that seemed coincidental, moments of clarity that felt like guidance from above. She often says, "I don't know when it happened, but suddenly everything started falling into place." That is the miracle of consistent, heartfelt dua. It moves things we cannot see and opens doors we didn't even know existed. The beauty of dua is that it is both intimate and transformative. It reminds us that we are never truly alone, that even when the world seems indifferent, our whispers reach the one who knows every struggle, every tear, every hope. It is a force that awakens possibilities, reshapes hearts, and guides destinies. A woman who prays with sincerity is not just hoping, She is stepping into her own power, aligning her life with something greater, something limitless. Have you ever noticed how sometimes the smallest, quietest moments carry the greatest power? A glance at the sky, a deep breath in the night, a whispered prayer that no one else hears. That is where the real magic of dua lives. Beyond strategies, beyond plans, beyond the frantic rush of our daily lives. Imagine a young woman standing alone in her kitchen late at night. She has spent the day juggling work, family, and responsibilities, each one demanding more than she feels she has to give. Her mind is crowded with worries, her heart heavy with doubt. And yet, in that still moment, she folds her hands and whispers, "Why Allah, you know what I cannot see. Guide me, protect me, open my path." There is no audience, no applause, just the intimacy between her soul and the divine. And in that intimacy, something begins to shift. Dua is not just asking, it is surrendering. It is acknowledging that we are limited, but the one we are calling is limitless. There was a woman I know who had spent years trying to make her business succeed. She had learned every strategy, attended every seminar, and networked tirelessly, yet nothing seemed to stick. Frustration weighed on her like a heavy cloak. One night, in tears, she whispered a prayer, not for success in itself, but for guidance, for clarity, for the ability to persevere. "Ya Allah, show me the way, even if I cannot see it," she said. Within weeks, unexpected opportunities arose. Collaborations, mentors, and clients she never imagined would come her way. It wasn't that her hard work was ignored, but her dua aligned her effort with divine timing. It opened doors her eyes couldn't find. The remarkable thing about dua is that it transforms the heart even before it transforms circumstances. I remember a mother who prayed daily for her child, who faced challenges that seemed insurmountable. She cried in her room, whispered her fears and hopes, sometimes for hours. People told her it was hopeless, that she should accept what seemed inevitable. But she did not stop. She said, "I will not give up, because I believe there is a power greater than me." Listening, slowly, subtly, things began to change. The child found courage, resilience, and guidance at unexpected moments. Friends and mentors appeared almost miraculously. Her prayers hadn't forced an outcome, but they had nurtured a patience, a faith, and a hope that allowed blessings to grow and unfold. Dua is like planting seeds in soil we cannot see. Each plea, each whispered hope, each tear shed in sincerity is a seed. You do not see the roots forming, the branches stretching, or the leaves turning towards sunlight. But if you persist, water it with faith, and nurture it with patience, the fruit appears in time, often in ways far beyond what you imagine. A young woman struggling with education against family opposition continued praying, asking not just for success, but for strength, courage, and wisdom. Years later, she achieved more than she had dreamed: a scholarship, recognition, and a career that allowed her to uplift others. She often says, "I didn't see it at first, but my prayers were shaping everything behind the scenes." Even the smallest act of sincere dua carries unimaginable weight. A whisper in the quiet, a moment of vulnerability, a confession of hope, all are forces that ripple through the unseen. A woman facing repeated rejection in love, and life could have surrendered to despair. But she chose instead to pray, not asking for someone specific, not demanding an outcome, but asking for guidance, for strength, for clarity. And slowly, unexpectedly, doors began to open. Encounters, conversations, and opportunities appeared almost effortlessly. The unseen had been listening all along. The power of dua lies in its ability to anchor the soul. It reminds us that we are never truly alone, that even when everything seems chaotic, there is a plan, there is wisdom, there is care. It gives courage to those who feel powerless, strength to those who feel weak, and light to those wandering in darkness. Women who embrace this power, who pray with sincerity and hope, discover that their hearts can hold both struggle and faith, fear and courage, longing and trust. Every whispered prayer becomes a testament to resilience, every tear a bridge to guidance, every hope a step toward transformation. Have you ever noticed how some moments in life feel like quiet invitations, almost invisible, yet they carry the potential to change everything. That is the hidden power of persistence in dua. Imagine a young woman facing what feels like the impossible, a goal that has eluded her for years, a dream she has nurtured in secret, a challenge that no one else seems to understand. She has prayed before, hesitated, doubted, even given up at times, yet something inside whispers that she cannot stop now. And so she kneels, hands trembling, voice soft but unwavering, saying, "Ya Allah, I will not give up. Please guide me. Please open the way for me." Persistence is what transforms ordinary prayer into extraordinary outcomes. I know a story of a woman who had been trying for years to secure a job that aligned with her passion. Rejections piled up, letters of refusal filled her mailbox, and every door she knocked on seemed to close with a resounding echo of no. Her friends and family urged her to let go, to try something realistic. Yet she continued to pray every morning and night, whispering the same plea with unwavering faith, "Why Allah? If this is meant for me, show me the path." Months later, a connection she had not anticipated led her to an opportunity that was beyond anything she had imagined, one that perfectly matched her skills and her calling. She later said, "I know it was my prayers, my refusal to give up, that made the difference. I would have missed it if I had quit." Persistence in dua is not just about repetition, it is about faith in the unseen. Consider a mother worried sick about her child's future, facing obstacles that seem insurmountable. Every night she prays, sometimes until dawn, sometimes with tears so heavy that they blur her vision. People tell her it is hopeless, that she must accept what comes. But she continues, believing that her consistent prayers matter, that her unwavering hope will create ripples she cannot yet see. Over time, her child begins to find guidance, support, and opportunities that align perfectly with their growth. The mother later reflects, "I didn't see the results immediately, but I learned that persistence in prayer is like planting seeds in winter. You may not see growth now, but the bloom comes at the right season." There is a deeper lesson in this persistence. It teaches patience, resilience, and trust. A young woman facing repeated setbacks in her personal life could have surrendered to despair. But she chose instead to continue praying, not asking for immediate change, but asking for guidance, strength, and clarity. Over time, she noticed subtle shifts, a timely word from a friend, a sudden insight during a quiet moment, doors opening in ways she never expected. Her persistent prayers had not forced an outcome, but they had prepared her heart to recognize and embrace the opportunities when they appeared. Persistence transforms not just circumstances, but the person who prays, shaping patience, hope, and courage into armor for life's challenges. Even the smallest acts of persistent prayer carry immense power. A whispered hope in the quiet, repeated over days and weeks, can move what seems immovable. Consider a woman trying to heal from a past heartbreak. Every night she prays, asking for peace, clarity, and the courage to move forward. Months later, she finds herself in a place of serenity she once thought impossible, ready to embrace new beginnings. She often says, "It wasn't just the healing itself, it was my refusal to stop praying, my commitment to keep reaching out, that made all the difference." Persistence in dua is like lighting a candle in a dark room. Each prayer adds fuel, each plea strengthens the flame, until the light grows strong enough to illuminate the path ahead. Women throughout history have harnessed this power, turning whispers of hope into monumental change, using persistence to guide their families, careers, and communities. They teach us that the divine responds not only to our needs, but to our determination, our steadfastness, our refusal to surrender. And here is the subtle truth: every prayer we persist with is a testimony to the strength of our hearts. Every tear shed, every whisper repeated, every hope held tightly in the darkness is a bridge to something greater, a connection to guidance that cannot be measured in time or reason. A woman who prays persistently is not simply asking, she is claiming her own power, stepping into her faith, and walking a path of transformation that cannot be interrupted. So today I want you to remember this: your prayers matter, your whispers matter, your faith matters. Every tear you shed, every plea you utter, every silent hope you carry in your heart is not wasted. It is seen, it is heard, it is shaping your path in ways you cannot yet imagine. Do not wait for the perfect moment to pray. Do not wait for your heart to feel ready. Do not wait for everything to be just right. Pray now. Pray today. Pray with all that you are. Because every second you delay is a second that could have been filled with guidance, blessings, and transformation. Every moment you hesitate is a moment you could have been stepping into your own power. Do not doubt the strength of your voice. Do not underestimate the power of your persistence. Do not forget that the woman who prays with faith, hope, and patience is unstoppable. She moves mountains with a whisper. She opens doors with a tear. She changes destinies with her steadfast heart. So rise, lift your hands. Speak to the divine. Speak for your dreams. Speak for your loved ones. Speak for your courage. Speak for your future. Do not stop until you see the change. Do not stop until your heart feels the answer. Do not stop until you witness the miracle that has been waiting for you all along. And remember this: every prayer you make is not just a request, it is a declaration. A declaration that you believe, a declaration that you hope, a declaration that you refuse to give up. Every prayer you make is your power, your courage, your invitation to miracles. So whisper, cry, hope, and believe, because today, right now, you are not just a woman who prays, you are a woman who changes the world with her dua. And if you carry nothing else from today, carry this: your prayer is your power, your faith is your weapon, and your heart is the most unstoppable force in the universe.